The theme for this star party, the 178th, is Please Signals from the Stars. And so what I thought I would do tonight is share a little bit from what this member of the Astronomical League does with those signals from the stars. Love a good theme. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our observing programs, some challenges, some citizen science, some resources, and of course, people. So what we do with those signals from the stars. I promised Adrian I'd show him the cat paw galaxy tonight. This is in links. Right now, as a member of the League, I'm working on the ARP Peculiar Galaxy program, the Northern Hemisphere. And as part of that program, we're looking at the 300-some peculiar galaxies that were cataloged at Palomar by Halton ARP in 1966. And I'm finishing up marking my images because I've imaged about 109 of them, 110 as of this afternoon, but when I went back to review, turns out it's 109. That's the way it goes. I only need 100. Putting them together to turn in for one of those lovely pins that we can earn as part of these programs as a member. And that program can be found on the astroleague.org. But there's also a very current challenge going on. In fact, I just completed this today and got my certificate. There have been 16 observing challenges. Number 15 is the nova that we're still waiting on that's supposed to be in Corona Borealis, the blaze star to be particular. And there is a video that's posted by John Goss of the League. It's on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, you've probably seen this poster that was made that was put up to advertise it. I watched it. It's only about 10 minutes. Definitely worth a view, as all of his videos are. And it's really interesting because it covers what the controversy has been about Messier 102. Messier was Charles Messier of the 1700s, who was the French comet chaser. I love comets. Hats off to David Levy. And he was trying to, Charles Messier was trying to catalog all those pesky things that he saw in the sky that weren't comets, so that when he hit them again, he knew he wasn't finding an exciting comet, which is unfortunate for him, but it's good for us because it gave us a marvelous list of 110 objects, except for you have to be careful about your note-taking and the neatness of your work and your handwriting and findings and repeatability because, spoiler alert, the Greek symbols for theta and omicron are very similar, and some of the note-taking wasn't quite accurate. And so this particular challenge walks the amateur astronomer through the process of repeating some of these observations and deciding which of the possible observations and coordinates were likely candidates for this M102. Don't worry, 102 is kind of a settled thing at this point. It's NGC 5866, as NASA calls it today. But it's a lot of fun to do some of these challenges, and you get a lovely certificate for it. So as a part of the process, we can either do images or we can do drawings of the particular items that are in a challenge. In this case, I chose to do images, and they have you walk through finding things on the star chart, as I did. And part of the benefits of doing a challenge are you get to learn a little history, you get to improve some observing skills. For me, I get to learn more so I can share it in outreach. And of course, you get to have a little bit of bragging rights because you get a certificate at the end. Now, there's also some great citizen science programs that are available out there. In particular through SciStarter, and the Astronomical League will also give you a certificate for bragging rights for some of those. Done 2 of those this past month and a half or so. This first one is citizen science looking at Martian clouds. And in this particular case, they put these images out to the public because there aren't enough paid scientists to go through and find in all of these little images which ones have these things like these arcs, which have a special meaning to them. So if you crowdsource this data and have a community of thousands or even hopefully millions of people looking for these things, you can throw out the outliers and you have basically a pool of responses from citizen scientists, which is you and me, it's everybody. And they're able to fast track what the data means. So in this case, I did a few hundred of them and spotted these little arcs, and that'll help the scientists figure out some more about weather forecasting for Mars, which will be very important for future Artemis missions. There's also one that's fresh from the Rubin Observatory. Woohoo! This is that biggest camera in the world observatory in Chile. And they have on Zooniverse, a citizen science program, the Rubin comet catchers. And in this one, you're doing the task of something even easier. You're basically running through a tutorial, seeing what they're classifying as comets, and then going through and either marking yes or no that you see a comet. Every once in a while, it'll pop up and it'll tell you, oh, this one was a known comet. Sorry you missed it. And it'll give you a chance to hit it again. And that's just sort of a way to improve the data quality of these things. Well, I had so much fun with these comets that I got the Citizen Science Gold Level certificate from the League for doing over 1,000 of them. And I'll probably go back and do some more. But this is fresh, brand new data from Rubin Observatory of all places. Who can beat that, right? But I have to talk to you a little bit about ALCon because ALCon's coming up in Cincinnati and it is in August. And I have to tell you too that there's a lot of graphics that go up on social media from the Astronomical League. But since I mentioned the ALCon, let me jump to that real quick. We have the conference, which is August 12th through 15th in Cincinnati, and every ALCon has a set of featured speakers, meet and greets, observing that goes on, tours, awards, but most importantly, making lasting memories and friendships. There are people that I met at my first one that I look forward to seeing every year at the next one or at other events. It's just a really cool place to meet up with people of like minds, but to learn a lot and have fun. Going back to this lovely poster that John Goss made, he's highlighting for us too some things that are coming up throughout 2026, and in particular, last night and tonight, the Venus passing Jupiter in the early evening. If anybody is familiar with your night sky, and I hope a lot of you are, if you're like me, you looked out a couple of days ago and you saw in the sort of southwestern sky two bright stars, and it was kind of reminiscent of Castor and Pollux in Gemini. And you're thinking, well, that's not quite in the right spot, but okay. Well, those two bright objects are Venus and Jupiter. And they have been coming together and will be passing each other. And if you're any place other than where I am, where it's cloudy, hopefully you'll get to see it. So there's also going to be a very shallow partial solar eclipse on August 12th. And in Maryland, it's only going to be about 11% eclipsing. And there's also going to be some other events happening through the year. So Astronomical League provides a lot of information and resources on those kinds of things on their social media and their websites, including these lovely monthly charts. And since they do have the planetary transits, I did ask John if he could put the year on these things, which he does now. So it goes over what's of interest in the sky, helps you learn a little bit of star hopping by walking you through with ABCs and a little legend down here in 1, 2, 3s, so that you can learn the sky, but most importantly, enjoy what you're looking at. And he must have thousands of these drawings that are now available and free to use for members at Outreach. He's got the relative planet positions for this month of June. How fun is that? And one key message here is that really the planets are always on parade. You always hear about these media events. Oh, the planets are on parade. Well, they're in parade on the ecliptic, so they're always there. But here's a nice little graphic that explains why. Also coming up this month, Friday, June 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, the Astronomical League Live will be featuring as the speaker our own Scott Roberts, spanning the globe, travels to international star parties. I'm looking forward to that because there's a few he's mentioned here on Global Star Party that sound pretty intriguing. So I hope that everybody marks their calendar because that'll be a must-see. And if you can't see it, they do post up the videos afterwards, so don't miss that.